we gather on this holy night to celebrate the fact that our God is different from all other gods. Other gods reign from far and distant places like Mount Olympus or Valhalla. They make temporary appearances in our world to convey a message, to frighten us, to play with us. Oftentimes, we're merely the playthings of their cosmic game. Those gods are distant. Those gods are far. Those gods come and go. Our God is different. Our God is different precisely because he himself has decided to descend from his heavenly throne, to enter our world, and to take on our flesh, to live among us as one of us, to know our world in a real and concrete way. Our God has come into our life and has become one of us so that he might share his life with us and share it to the full. His light has entered our darkness and has illumined our path ever since. God enters our darkness with his light in no ordinary way, but he does so in the humblest of circumstances. Other gods like to be treated as such. Our God finds himself laying in a manger, a food trough, surrounded by animals, upset that he is impeding their way to his straw. Our God comes to us in an insignificant backwater town named Bethlehem, a far-flung place on the edges of the Roman Empire, of little consequence or little significance. Our God comes not as a child of a king and queen, people of society or rulers or people of political significance, but of two young parents, a carpenter and his young wife. Our God enters our world not because we are perfect, not because we are extraordinary, but precisely because we are the opposite. He comes to us because we lived in the darkness, and he wants to share his light with us and to plant his light within us so that we may become beacons of him. To remind us that no matter where we might find ourselves, no matter what position we find ourselves, that our glory, our worth, our dignity, our value, all of those things come from him and him alone. He is the one who gives us the light of holiness. He is the one that gives us the light of his presence. Those things we need not earn and don't come with title or compensation or career or vocation. Christ enters our world and takes on our flesh so that he might sanctify us, so that he might make us holy by his presence among us. And that presence, though looking different today than it did all those years ago, is still real. As much as we celebrate this day, Christ's coming in time to the Virgin Mary, in a specific place, in a specific way, we also celebrate the fact that Christ continues to make himself present to us each and every moment of our life. That he continues not to be a distant and far off God, but a God who seeks and desires to be close to us, to love us, to care for us, to walk with us. As much as we celebrate Christ's coming in time this night, we are particularly mindful of his continued presence in our life, of his continued light in what at times feels like a world filled with darkness. That we need not conquer the darkness because he has conquered it for us. And with his grace, will give us the ability to make his light shine forth and bring his joy into the world. So this night then invites us to consider two things. The first is how we're letting the light of Christ dwell in us. To ask ourselves what darkness might fill us, what darkness of loneliness, what darkness of anxiety, what darkness of despair, or fear, or worry. And to let God shine his light into us so that he might dispel the darkness and fill us with his hope. To remind us that no matter how dark our life might seem, he will always give us the light of his love. He will always give us the grace and strength to bear our crosses and follow him. And though our life may be far from perfect, he will always be generous in sharing his light with us. Even if he has felt distant or far from us, even if we have not worked particularly hard to come to know him these past few years, he continues to desire to be part of our life and invites us to renew our relationship with him, to reignite the flame of that love that makes our soul glow with his glory. Confident of Christ dwelling in us, of Christ's light illumining our own hearts, he then calls us to bring that light to others, to share his goodness and his life and his love to those who might find it difficult to see. He asks us this night to be mindful of those who may well be far from the peace that he brings, whose lives might be disrupted by anger and violence and war or poverty or any number of things. And to be mindful of how we seek to bring Christ's presence to them and to share his light with them in our charity, in our kindness, in our goodness. And yes, at times that certainly seems like it will be an uphill battle. It seems at times that the world is so immensely dark and our light just a flickering flame. But bolstered by our confidence in God's grace and nourishment, he gives us the strength and the hope to share that light with others. To see that small flame multiply time and time again until it becomes a blaze of glory. And so on this night, as we mark and honor Christ's birth among us, his nearness to us, his love for us and taking on our flesh and being part of our reality. Let's not forget that it's not some cute story from long ago, but a moment that changes the very course of our world and the very content of who we are. That infant lying in the manger in Bethlehem continues to lie within each and every one of us and his church as we gather for Holy Eucharist, as we spend time with him in prayer, as we read the sacred scriptures, as we seek to love one another. The world has seen a great light, friends, and bolstered by that light, may we seek to share it each and every day of our life, so that we might illumine this dark world with the light of God's glory and shine upon it the kingdom of heaven, where Christ will bring all things back to himself, and where we will reign with him face to face for all time.